Coming up on Arirang News. Heavy rainfall has battered the greater capital area and nearby regions for 2 days in a row, causing traffic disruption, landslides, and evacuations. Beating France's EDF, South Korea's state-run Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power wins the bidding on a nuclear power project in the Czech Republic, 15 years after winning the contract to build the Baraka nuclear power plant in the UAE. A total of 7,648 junior doctors' resignations were finalized on Thursday, but only around 8% of them back at work. The Health Ministry is to begin the recruitment process for junior doctors next week for the second half of the year.
Welcome to the 9 p.m. edition of Arirang News. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. We start here in Seoul, where rain has continued to pound the city, prompting warnings against flash floods and landslides. Although the rain in Seoul eased late this afternoon, many areas, including Jamsugyo Bridge, remain closed. Our Shin Ha-young has the latest.
Due to continuous heavy rainfall, the water levels of the Hangang River in Seoul have been gradually rising.
After around 2:15 p.m., vehicle access was restricted after the water level reached above 6 meters.
Pedestrian access to the bridge had already been shut off at just past 7 a.m. Thursday morning, even though the water level hadn't exceeded the 5.5-meter limit at the time. Police say preemptive measures were taken for safety reasons. Heavy rainfall led to flood advisories in Seoul's 10 districts, while it also led to closures of roads around the city. However, among them, the restrictions on the Dongbu Expressway linking the city to Jeollabuk-do Province, as well as sections of the Daebu Expressway, were lifted as the rain eased in the late afternoon. A heavy rain warning issued across Seoul was also lifted at 4 p.m. Heavy rain warnings are issued when rainfall is expected to exceed 90 millimeters in 3 hours or 180 millimeters in 12 hours. At 7:30 a.m., the landslide warning level for Seoul, Incheon, Gyeonggi-do, and Gangwon-do provinces was elevated to serious, the highest level. While there have been no casualties across the capital, several cases of rain damage were reported. These include fallen trees along streets, flooded homes, and traffic accidents caused by slippery roads. However, a person died in Nonsan City, Chungcheongnam-do province due to a barn collapsing. Authorities are looking into whether that was due to the rain. As of 6 p.m., the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters had reported 447 cases of house flooding nationwide. Due to the risks of landslides and flooding, more than 1,100 residents have been evacuated across the country, and 366 people still haven't been able to return home. Interior Minister Lee Sang-min ordered the mobilization of all possible personnel and resources to minimize rain damage as the ministry raised its readiness posture from caution to vigilance. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
North Korea appears to be significantly increasing the volume of water being discharged from its Hangang Dam, located approximately 40 kilometers north of the DMZ. South Korea's Ministry of Environment observed on Thursday that water levels had exceeded 2 meters due to heavy rain. This is a big rise compared to an observation made via satellite imagery at 3 a.m. The dam is located in the upper part of the Hangang River, which flows from north to south and joins the Hangang River downstream. A Unification Ministry official told reporters he regrets the unnotified discharge. In 2009, North Korea agreed to notify the South in advance following an accident that killed 6 South Koreans after the North released water without notice. Meanwhile, North Korea is again sending filth balloons to the South. Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff announced on Thursday afternoon that balloons are moving toward Gyeonggi-do Province. Earlier this week, North Korea warned of serious consequences following anti-Pyongyang leaflets being sent from the south. North Korea has sent more than 2,000 trash-carrying balloons across the inter-Korean border since late May. The military advises citizens to refrain from touching them and report any sightings to the nearest military base or police. South Korea has imposed unilateral sanctions on a Hong Kong-based shipping company, HK Ilin Shipping, and the North Korean vessel Toksong. The 3,000-ton ship Dili, owned by HK Ilin Shipping, was involved in the illegal transfer of North Korean anthracite coal mounting to 4,500 tons using Toksong, which is banned under international sanctions. According to South Korea's Foreign Ministry and National Intelligence Service, the government seized the Dili vessel from waters off the country's south coast near Yeosu in March, after receiving intelligence from the U.S. that it was violating the UNSC resolutions against North Korea. The Foreign Ministry said the sanctions demonstrate South Korea's strong commitment to thwarting North Korea's illegal maritime activities and deterring its illicit nuclear and missile development. The heads of South Korea, the U.S. and Japan's Joint Chiefs of Staff have stressed the importance of trilateral cooperation amid escalating North Korean threats. The three countries held a trilateral Chief of Defense meeting in Tokyo on Thursday, attended by Seoul's Kim Myung-soo, Washington's Charles Q. Brown, and Tokyo's Yoshihide Yoshida. The chiefs condemned North Korea's illegal nuclear and missile programs, as well as deepening military cooperation with Russia. They also agreed to expand the trilateral multi-domain Freedom Edge exercise that first kicked off last month. Also discussed were the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. The next meeting will be held next year in South Korea. In other news, a consortium led by the country's nuclear power entity has been chosen as the preferred bidder for a major nuclear power plant construction project in the Czech Republic. Our presidential office correspondent Oh Soo-young has the details.
South Korea's state-run power giant has been named the preferred bidder to build at least 2 nuclear plants in the Czech Republic, marking a major feat for the country's budding export industry and President Yoon's sales diplomacy. Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala said Wednesday that a South Korean consortium led by Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power won the hotly contested tender to build reactors at the Dukovany power plant, beating France's EDF in all criteria assessed. Fiala said 2 more reactors could be built at the Temelin plant. South Korea's presidential office expressed gratitude for Prague's decision in a briefing Wednesday evening.
This makes KHNP the preferred bidder for the construction of 2 Dukovany nuclear reactors, and if the Czech government decides to proceed with the construction of 2 Temelin reactors, KHNP will also be the preferred bidder. This comes 15 years after winning the country's bid to build the UAE's Barakah nuclear power plant in 2009, and it will be the foundation for our exports to Europe, the origin of commercial reactors.
The 2 new 1,200 megawatt units will cost about $8.6 billion each, according to the Czech government, with the final deal signed by March next year. Seoul attributed the success to the solid trust between the two sides, built over 34 years of diplomatic relations, and public-private cooperation between businesses, industry workers, government officials and citizens involved in Team Korea's bid, offering low construction costs, top safety and technological standards, to deliver completion on time within budget, as shown by the Barakah nuclear project in the United Arab Emirates. Since his inauguration in 2022, President Yoon has actively promoted South Korea's nuclear power exports, holding more than 150 summits with 100 leaders of government. His office noted that he'd met the Czech Prime Minister on 3 occasions, including in Washington, D.C. last week, and even sent a letter presenting a vision for bilateral cooperation in nuclear energy. The Czech Republic aims to phase out coal by 2033 and increase its energy security by expanding nuclear power production. KHNP's APR 1000 reactor can produce around 1.2 times the annual power consumption in Prague, according to Seoul's Trade Ministry. A presidential official said Seoul hopes that securing its bid to work on the Czech Republic's plants will lead to more opportunities in the European market, boosting investment and employment in South Korea's nuclear power ecosystem. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
In light of this news, our trade correspondent Lee Soo-jin takes a closer look at what's special about South Korea's nuclear power reactors and what potential challenges lie ahead.
The selection of the country's Korea Hydro and nuclear power as a preferred bidder to build at least 2 nuclear reactors for the Czech Republic will likely mark the beginning of further advancements into global markets. In a briefing held on Thursday, Trade Minister An Deok-keun said the achievement, which comes 15 years after the nation won the bid to build the Barakah nuclear power plant in the UAE, will open the door for further exports to Europe.
This project involves the construction of up to 4 large-scale nuclear reactors set to be the Czech Republic's biggest ever investment project. It establishes a foothold for exporting nuclear power plants to Europe, the birthplace of the first commercial nuclear reactors.
The 2 nuclear power units to be built in the Dukovany region are APR-1000 reactors, the smaller version of the APR-1400 reactors previously built in the UAE's Barakah nuclear power plant. The APR-1000 will produce around 1,000 megawatts of electricity, less than the APR-1400, but more suitable for the Czech Republic, which has a smaller electricity demand.
APR-1000 is a sister plant of APR-1400, which is, a third-generation nuclear reactor. It has a much higher, safety capability and lots of, provisions in case of something happened in the nuclear power plant.
And compared to France's EPR-1200, the APR-1000 is more affordable, as it costs almost half of the around $11 billion it cost to build the EPR-1200. And it was also certified by the European Utility Requirements Association last year, meaning that it has met more than 5,000 requirements, something France's EPR-1200 has yet to obtain. But there are still challenges ahead, namely with the ongoing legal dispute with U.S. nuclear power company Westinghouse, which filed a lawsuit against KHNP in 2022, claiming that the APR-1400 uses its intellectual property. The expert, however, is rather optimistic.
But I think that KHNP is somewhat, better positioned than before. They are trying to solve it, through the discussions and conversations rather than the solving in the courtyard.
Currently, the finalized contract is to be signed by March next year, with construction to start in 2029 and operation to begin in 2036. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
The Health Ministry on Thursday finalized a total of 7,648 resignations for trainee doctors. With only 8.4% of junior doctors back at work, 2,950 interns who are slated to work as residents starting this March, and 4,698 residents have resigned. That is around 96% of interns and a little less than half of the total residents. The medical dispute has rumbled on for 5 months now. Some training hospitals had on Wednesday met the government's deadline by submitting their recruitment plans for the second half of the year. As training hospitals asked for a total of 7,707 new trainee doctors, the ministry is committed to starting the recruitment process from the 22nd of this month as planned. After around a month, President Yoon Suk-yeol was back on the road on Thursday to host his 27th Public Policy Dialogue. This time, and for the first time, it was in Jeollabuk-do Province. From industries to culture, President Yoon has vowed to help the province grow faster. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
Advanced technology, life, and culture. These are the key words that President Yoon Suk-yeol presented to Jeollabuk-do Province as part of his vision to push the region. This came as he hosted the 27th Public Policy Dialogue there.
전북이 공들여서 육성하려고 하고 있는 2차 전지와 바이오 등 첨단 산업에 대한 기대도 그 어느 때보다 큽니다. 또 우리 전통 문화의 본산인 전북이 문화 산업의 새로운 거점이 될 것입니다.
Among the many pledges he made, first, he said the region needs to be the country's advanced technology bridgehead. To do this, the government will invest 250 billion Korean won, or around $180 by 2030, to create a hydrogen-specialized national industrial complex. By 2026, the infrastructure will be expanded to establish an innovative ecosystem for hydrogen commercial vehicles.
As for life, the president is focusing on the region's strength in the agricultural industry. He pledged he would support young entrepreneurs and smart farms to relocate into the region. As for culture, on top of culture content support centers, he pledged to invest around $29 million to create a youth sports complex to foster national athletes. He also pledged that any regulations that hinder growth will be scrapped, as he ordered government officials to not think twice before making decisions when it comes to this.
성장을 방해하고 경제 활동, 자유로운 경제 활동을 막 불필요하게 제한하는 게 있으면은 즉시 폐지해 주기 바랍니다. 우리 여기 공무원들도 많이 오셨는데 그거를 뭐 검토하고 다른 부처하고 협의하고 그러기 전에 이거는 불필요하다 하면은 즉시 다른 부처에 또 유사한 게 있으면 같이 폐지하는 식으로 이렇게 해서.
This was his first time going to the region since he started the policy dialogues. He shared his personal experiences with the city, naming a couple of restaurants that he used to like. He also said it was tough to reach the region's main city of Jeonju from Gyeongsang-buk-do Province, requesting relevant government officials to speed up the decision to create a highway connecting the two regions. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Lawmaker Tae Young-ho, who crossed the border into South Korea in 2016 while serving as a North Korean diplomat in the UK, has been tapped to head Seoul's Peaceful Unification Advisory Council. The presidential office in Yongsan on this Thursday linked his credentials in diplomacy and politics in North Korea and South Korea respectively to prospects of productive advancements in the council's pursuits based on liberal democracy. And President Yoon also tapped Professor Yoo Sang-im of Seoul National University to take the reins of the Science Ministry. Meanwhile, the Presidential Secretary for SMEs, Kim Sung-sop, will take on the post of Vice SMEs Minister, while Nam Hyung-gi will serve as Second Vice Minister of Government Policy Coordination. The top office says it will consider launching a probe and taking disciplinary measures regarding the exposure of a South Korean intelligence officer who allegedly recruited a Korean-American researcher, Sumi Terry, as an agent. A senior Yoon official told reporters Thursday that the photos and related incidents involving the National Intelligence Service officer all occurred during the former Moon Jae-in administration, adding it had purged capable agents and replaced them with amateurs, which likely led to the current situation. Terry's indictment, released by the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York on Tuesday, accuses the eminent foreign policy expert of breaching the Foreign Agents Registration Act by acting as an agent for the South Korean government since 2013 in return for high-end fashion goods and research funding. Meanwhile, with the Olympics coming up, members of Korea's archery team departed for Paris earlier this week, with pledges to do their best amid warm wishes from the public. Yoon files this report.
At the heart of Paris lies the sprawling green lawns of Esplanade des Invalides. This is where South Korean archers will be aiming for gold at this year's Paris Olympics. Kim Woo-jin, Kim Jae-deok, and Lee Woo-seok in the men's recurve, and Im Si-hyun, Chun Hoon-young, and Nam Soo-hyun in the women's recurve, who will be making their Olympic debuts.
For us, this is our first Olympics, and we've put in extra effort to get good results. We've worked diligently, hoping that our efforts can lead to a successful outcome.
The South Korean archery team has created an unparalleled legacy by clinching at least one gold at every Summer Olympics since 1984. After winning 4 gold medals at the Tokyo Olympics out of the 5 events, Team Korea's goal this time is to secure at least 3. The spotlight is on the women's team competition, striving for their 10th consecutive gold medal. One thing that makes South Korean archery so strong is known to be their thorough training regimes, which incorporate advanced techniques and training with robots. Competing against these emotionally neutral robots is to strengthen the athlete's psychological resilience. The archers also trained in simulated settings, such as football stadiums with large crowds and under different weather conditions. Now it's almost time for their hard work to pay off, and they'll have the backing of their nation.
To our athletes, instead of dwelling too much on the medals, I believe valuing the process and hard work is more important. I hope you give your all and enjoy the journey. Go Team South Korea!
I hope all the athletes' hard work pays off. Good luck.
With their exceptional skill and unwavering support from their fellow citizens, archers for Team Korea are poised to write yet another chapter in Olympic history.
I hope this Olympics becomes a venue where people worldwide can connect and share moments of joy and sorrow together.
이은희, 아리랑 뉴스.
As the summer vacation season is underway, Gangwon-do Province is one of the most popular places for South Koreans to enjoy their summer breaks. But some say that Gangwon-do should also seek ways to bring in more tourists during other seasons and not just during the summer. Our Park Gun-woo tells us more.
Gangwon-do Province in eastern South Korea is one of the country's most popular summer vacation spots, particularly due to its beautiful beaches. According to a survey by data research firm PMI in June, over 70% of Korean respondents planning summer vacations decided on domestic trips, what people call staycations, instead of going overseas due to high costs. The survey also showed that Gangwon-do was the most popular summer vacation destination in South Korea, out of all other domestic travel options.
Gangwon-do is a great place to come as it is really close to Seoul and the transportation is convenient.
I chose Gangwon-do instead of places like Jeju Island because of high costs, and I wanted to enjoy the clean ocean here instead of water parks since I already used those a lot.
All 86 beaches in Gangwon-do are now open for the summer. And by open, this means there will be lifeguards on duty as thousands of people will gather to enjoy themselves by doing fun activities such as surfing and playing in the sea. As of last Sunday, over 420,000 people had visited Gangwon-do beaches this summer, up 44% on year. Starting last Friday, all beaches in Gangwon-do Province are now open, bringing in many tourists. But some point out the need for Gangwon-do to also attract tourists during other seasons, as much as they do during the summer.
Most tourism spending in Gangwon-do is usually made during the summer, so Gangwon-do needs to come up with diversified tourism programs and policies that reflect tourist trends, such as marine healing tourism, marine culture and festival tourism, and ecotourism to attract tourists during all 4 seasons.
Gangwon tourism organizations said they will continue to work on coming up with ways to bring in more tourists during other seasons as well. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News, Yangyang.
With heavy rain in Seoul, there are puddles everywhere. Umbrellas and raincoats are not enough in such conditions. Heavy rain warnings are in place in the Seoul metropolitan area, Gangwon-do Province, and northern parts of Chungcheongnam-do Province. There will be a lot of heavy rain across the country until tonight, especially in the southern parts of the country. You should be careful of heavy rain of 20 to 30 millimeters per hour until dawn. By tomorrow, up to 150 millimeters of rain are expected in the Seoul metropolitan area in Jeollabuk-do Province, and up to 120 is expected in the Gangwon-do Province, the Chungcheongdo Provinces, and Gyeongsangbuk-do Province. Temperature-wise, most areas will start off in the mid-20s tomorrow. Highs will move up to 31 in Seoul, Chuncheon, Daegu, and Gyeongju, 32 degrees. This weekend, up to 70 to 80 millimeters of rain is expected across the country. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Arirang News will be back at 9 a.m. Korea time.